Hey guys, it's Kevin Smart for the season finale of Sense8, Season 1, Episode 12, I Can't Leave Her. And wow, I'm already up to the season finale. I can't believe it. Hopefully it's not the series finale. I just said series finale. Hopefully it's not the series finale. This was the season finale. Hopefully not the series finale. They haven't confirmed that there's a Season 2. And this was an amazing finale, obviously. The show's amazing. I love everything about it. And some people have said this finale was kind of disappointing. But here's the thing, guys. The reason why I love this finale is because the payoff was so good. Like, the show was so slow-paced, and then this payoff, it really worked very well. And I like that they left it so if there's not a Season 2, there is sort of an ending. But there still better be a Season 2. Please, make a Season 2. Let's get in this episode. This episode was insane. I loved it. It was incredible. It was very emotional at times. It had some of the best acting I think we've seen from these characters, especially the characters of Will and Riley, whoever plays them, and also a couple other characters I definitely do want to talk about. Now, this episode mainly focused on two storylines, which I actually really like because the show has been so much of 8 stories, and these characters' 8 lives was very different than the first 12 episodes of, than the other 11 episodes have been, because this episode was only 2 storylines, and it didn't really focus on their personal lives as much as it did saving all of them from, as much as it did then saving all of them from the BPO and whispers and things like that. That's what it mainly focused on. It had one other story I definitely do want to talk about, but let's just get into this episode because obviously it was amazing and there's a lot to discuss, and I can't wait for next season if there is one. So Will has this flashback. Basically, we start with this flashback of Will. He looks out the window at the snowfall, and this therapist is talking to him about snow, and the therapist brings up savior behavior, where one person feels the need to save others, and honestly, this applies to Will very well because Will's always been one of those people that wants to save others. He wants to help pretty much anyone he sees. I mean, especially Riley, but just anyone. Like, anyone Will has seen, he wants to help them. Even Deshawn, he helped out Deshawn. Like, we've seen Will be this guy this whole time. The therapist tells Will to be honest and asks if he still sees the ghost of Sarah, and Will stares at her vision in the window. You can clearly see he does, but he says no to the therapist, probably because he didn't want the therapist to think he was crazy, but I thought that was a perfect way to start the episode and really set the tone for this episode. Because Will wakes up as his plane lands, and we find out that, yes, he has gone to Iceland, and that was awesome, because I really wanted him to not just visit her in Iceland, Riley in Iceland, to actually physically go to Iceland, and he actually did that, and you can understand why. I mean, he doesn't really have much of a reason to be in Chicago anymore. He doesn't. I mean, he's not working with Diego. His father's there, but he really doesn't have much in Chicago anymore, so I was fine that he went to Iceland. Now, at the same time, Riley's being transported in a BPO hospital van. She's in a trance-like state, and we see, remember those flashbacks we saw from, like, the last episode, where she has more than this episode. She has flashbacks of her last drive with Magnus, and in the flashback, she's having contractions and I thought this was very realistically handled. The way they handled this, I thought was really well done. Because she's having contractions, and Magnus speeds across a snow-covered road. You see that Magnus is just the guy that really just wants to help her out, get her to the hospital, make sure his wife's okay, and Magnus loses control of the car. It goes off the road, rolling several times, and he even, like, gives up his code. Like, that's how much he cares about her. He gives up his code. It's, like, freezing, and basically the car, like, skitters off the road, rolling several times down the steep hill, and that basically is how Magnus died. And I thought that was really well done, because ever since episode 9, we've known that Magnus died, and I like that we found out in this episode how exactly that happened. And back in the BPO van, Magnus appears to Riley and asks her to come with him. And again, when we see this, I'm just like, don't kill Riley. Seriously, don't kill Riley, because every time we see him, he's like, come with me. I'm like, they're gonna kill off Riley. I was hoping they wouldn't do that. And we see the flashbacks continue, because Riley then finds herself in an upside-down car, hanging from a seatbelt, and Magnus is dead from a head injury, and Riley's water breaks right then and there. She starts pushing. It's probably the worst thing that could have happened to her, and she basically is forced to deliver the baby herself, and baby Luna emerges, and Riley comforts her. She grabs a knife to cut the umbilical cord and tells her that help is coming. It's this really sweet scene, because she did it all on her own, and I really did love that. So I thought that was really good. So Will walks through the airport. Nomi appears, shares that she has found BPO's location, a research facility up the coast. She has also found a flight plan listing a single passenger due to arrive named Dr. Ellison, whom they guess is Whispers. And here's the thing. The reason they need to make season 2 because we don't know much about this character, and I'm actually fine. A lot of people are like, why don't we know too much about Whispers? Well, that's because Whispers is a character that none of the characters really know about right now, and we're definitely going to find out more about him next season, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Definitely that's something that we're going to get to. So Will finds a rental car waiting outside, and there's this fancy red Porsche obtained by Amanita and Nomi, and Riley's flashbacks continue. She cradles Luna and punches her way through the car's glass window. And you see that she basically took care of Luna on her own as best as she could. You know, she begins walking across the snow-covered mountains, singing her childhood song, and she wanders until the sun sets and then tearfully apologizes to Luna. She lays down in the snow, and she basically had to give her up. She knew she couldn't do anything. She knew she couldn't raise her, and it's just really sad. She didn't know what to do. She's all alone. She really had no one, and it's such a sad scene. Really, it was. So, and it really makes sense when you see the beginning of the last episode. That's what happened. She probably gave her child and then had to go off on her own to find some help because no one was coming to get her. So you see that while Riley really did want to help Luna, there was really nothing she could do. So at BPO, Riley's transferred by Gurney out of the van. Yurza appears and tells Riley that this is her last chance to protect her cluster. And Riley then grabs the gun of the one man, firing off a shot into a wall, and all the Sensates appear around Riley, and she imagines that she is Angelica, taking her life in the church. And Will appears, tells her not to do it, and Riley lowers the gun, and in many ways, Riley and Will's story is very similar to that of Jonas and Angelica, which I thought was really interesting. She's then tackled by guards, one of them injects her, and she falls unconscious, and that was pretty crazy. So Jonas is in the car with Will, and basically says that it's lucky that Riley's unconscious because she'll be immune to Whispers. Whispers will basically not be able to do anything to her because she'll be in this complete vegetative state. Nothing will happen to her. So Wolfgang, now the only other storyline we get in this episode is between Wolfgang and Kala. That's the only other thing we get, which I was fine with. I mean, most of this episode was like a rescue mission, and the rest of this part of the episode I thought was great. I mean, really, this was the real season finale part of it. Like, the whole thing felt like a season finale, but this very much I was like, wow, this is great. Because our opinion of Wolfgang really does change in this episode, because Wolfgang's at his uncle's house. He's surrounded by several armed men, and basically his uncle, Sergei, is suspicious because he can't reach Steiner. And obviously, he doesn't know that Wolfgang killed Steiner. And his uncle asks him, where is Steiner? And Wolfgang suggests that he can shoot him that he can see him shortly. And basically, Sergei asks, what? Just as one of the guards discovers a hidden pistol in Wolfgang's jacket, Wolfgang grabs his pistol, shooting several of the men dead before diving for cover. One of the bullets basically catches Sergei in the chest. And there's a moment of quiet, and Will appears and tells Wolfgang to be careful because he heard that some of the bullies struck Kelvler, and Sergei rises to his feet. Wolfgang dives for cover. More men arrive, and Wolfgang retreats up the stairs. Wolfgang barricades himself inside a kitchen, and there's Kala. And this scene between him and Kala, I absolutely love, because he visits Kala and tells her that this might be goodbye. Kala joins him in the kitchen. She grabs several chemicals from under the sink, wraps them together to form a bomb, and that was awesome. The way she just, like, I know I don't know how to fight, but I certainly know how to, like, she just makes this bomb, they kiss, and Wolfgang ignites the bomb, throwing it over the barricade. It explodes, killing the man, and she basically tells him that she doesn't want to say goodbye to him. It's this awesome scene, and Kala, wow, Kala just turned into a badass in that scene. That was awesome. I mean, I didn't know Kala had it in her, but wow, that was awesome. So Wolfgang returns to find Sergei in his chair, out of ammo. Sergei asks why Wolfgang would kill his own family, and Wolfgang says he will tell Sergei who killed his brother, Anton, and now, of course, we find out here, this was really interesting. Wolfgang has a flashback where child Wolfgang sneaks up on his father Anton in an alleyway, strangles him with a wire, and Wolfgang then plants the body in a car and ignites it, and basically we realize that he killed Anton, and Wolfgang says his father was a monster, and so is he. He gets a crazy look on his face, shoots Sergi several times, point blank, looks over, and I screamed when that happened. I was like, oh my god! Like, I did not expect Wolfgang to do something like that. And this really shows that Wolfgang, out of all the Sense8s, he's really the one that is the most dangerous out of all of them, because this is a guy that will kick ass if he has to. He will physically beat someone up. He'll kill people. He is not really he's a nice guy, but kind of not. And the way they showed that, I just thought was really incredible. And basically, he looks over at Kala, and what he says to her, I just absolutely love. And he tells Kala, he's like, this is why you have to marry Rajan. You can see the look on Kala's face. She doesn't want things to end with him, but now she knows that she can't be with him. And now we see why she can't really be with Wolfgang, why she has to marry Rajan. And I'm going to say right now, don't go to Wolfgang, because Wolfgang is now this killer, and it was awesome seeing him be a badass, but really, I've heard people say this before, and I really do agree. Wolfgang is the true anti-hero of this show. Like, if you had to pick a character that is an anti-hero, it would be Wolfgang, because out of all the others, these other 7 have very good intentions and do things like that. Wolfgang, yeah, he's doing things for a reason, but he's still this badass who will kill people if he has to. He will mess them up. Like, he will do some serious damage, and he will do things because, he's a badass like that, and I thought that was awesome, and I really love that character development of Wolfgang, and I can't wait to see where his storyline goes next season. That is going to be awesome, and by far one of my favorite parts of that episode was that. I love that they showed that. So the rest of the episode is pretty much just this rescue mission, which I thought was awesome, because Will races along the Icelandic road. He sees Whisper's helicopter pass over ahead. Nomi comes up with a new plan. She basically tells Will to stop the car, cut the oil line so that the wrecked car will create a distraction, which I thought was really smart. And Will then arrives at the facility, and as expected, the men are all fixated by the sight of a beautiful sports car engulfed in smoke. It's actually pretty funny. Will walks in, and then thanks to Nomi's hacking, uses his phone to pass through the security gate, and Whispers is standing over Riley, asking her to open her eyes, and the nurse informs Whispers that she can't be woken up yet. Whispers storms off. He's not going to get what he wants, and that was pretty awesome. Terrence Mann, by the way, killed it in this role as Whispers. He was very intimidating, and I think he did a fantastic job in this episode, I must say. He did a great job as the villain. Will wanders the facility, wondering how they will find Riley's room, and Leto then appears, grabs the doctor's coat, and I loved this scene. I thought the scene between him and Leto was hilarious, because we didn't see Leto in the last episode, and I like that we saw him here, and Will's just like, do I know you? And Leto's like, yeah, we had sex. And I thought that was pretty hilarious that they referenced the orgy scene, and Will's like, oh yeah, that was interesting. And Leto's like flirting with him. That was by far probably the funniest moment of this entire season, I have to say. If I had to pick a funny moment, that's going to be in, like, my top moments. That was hilarious. I did not expect them to bring that up at all, and the fact that they brought that up, I just thought that was fantastic. I was laughing hysterically at that part. So Leto grabs a doctor's coat and does what he does best. He's going to pretend to be a doctor, and that works for him because he is an actor. He knows how to do that. So he commiserates with another doctor, and after a bit of flattery, he nonchalantly asks, oh, which room is she in? And basically, Jonas appears with a plan for getting them out of the hospital, and he says that someone in the facility is on their side and is now pretending to have a heart attack, so there will be an ambulance that they can use, which again was really smart. And at the same time, Whispers is standing over Jonas in the torture chair, and Jonas tells Whispers that Will is sneaking around the facility, and Will luckily does find Riley's floor. And you don't know what's going to happen in this scene. That's something I love about this episode, is that you don't know what's going to happen between Will and Riley, and it's like nail-gripping action. It's awesome. But Will finds Riley's floor and sees 4 guards waiting. Sun takes the lead, saying they will need more men before taking them out, and Will finds Riley, and as he touches her, they experience a strong psychic connection, momentarily trading places, and they flash back to all the moments of their relationship, and I love that. I thought this was just so well done, and again, there's no other show that could do something like this. Only Sense8 could do that, and I love it they did that here, because it shows, like, how they met, and when they almost kissed, and things like that. It's this great moment. You really see how far they've come, and Will momentarily imagines that Riley is Sarah Petrel, and he's saving her from the Lobotomy, and Will carries Riley into another room, and they realize that they need Riley conscious, basically. If in order for this to work, they need her conscious. So Kala appears, puts together a drug cocktail from supplies in the room, and Will injects Riley, and she jumps awake, and that was awesome. I actually really like seeing Kala do something in this episode that didn't involve Rajan. I thought that was pretty awesome. So Whispers administers electroshock torture to Jonas because he knows that Jonas knows where they are, and Whispers reads the mind of a weakened Jonas to learn the Sensates are planning to escape with the ambulance, and it's incredible to see. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to stuff like that next season, seeing Whispers and Jonas, and, Whispers kind of weakening Jonas. It was really interesting. So Will and Riley escape down an elevator. Whispers pursues, saying that he wants the subjects alive, and as the glass door elevator descends past Whispers' floor, Will happens to make eye contact with Whispers. They reach the basement and enter the ambulance. Will searches in vain for the keys. He's doing whatever he can to find them, and luckily Capheus appears and hotwires the van. They pull out, and Whispers enters a helicopter, begins pursuit, and Whispers visits Will, tells him he can now see and hear anything that Will sees and hears, and basically, that I thought was really interesting. And Riley looks at Will and realizes that he's afraid, and that whole scene, I'm like, oh shit, what's gonna happen here? So Amanita and Nomi are studying a map, realizing that they can evade the helicopter by driving up the mountain into the fog. Whisper's chopper flies in front, blocking the road, and Whispers... Something I love about Whisper's character is that we haven't seen much of him, but what we've seen, he's so menacing that you just have to say, okay, this is very satisfying, because they built him up as this really menacing villain, and that's exactly what he was. He was a menacing villain who is very maniacal, and I love that. So, and a lot of times when, like, you build up a villain to be, very powerful, it doesn't really work, and here I thought they executed it perfectly. So Whispers continue to visit Will, saying that he knows Will doesn't have the balls to risk all their lives, and Will says, I know someone who does, and of course he's talking about Wolfgang, and that was awesome, because Wolfgang takes over for Will, fearlessly driving the ambulance down the road, and at the last moment, Whisper's pilot pulls up, the van escapes past them into the fog, and Riley begs Will not to drive down the route, and it's the same place that her and Magnus went, and when Magnus lost control of their car and crashed, and Will then begins experiencing Riley's flashback too, for a few moments, he looks pregnant, which was really interesting. He's like, what the fuck? That was really weird. So they relive the crash, and suddenly Nomi finds out that she's unable to reach either Riley or Will. She doesn't know where they are, and basically she's lost track of them, and Riley exits the van, runs up the mountains, continuing to have flashbacks to Luna's death, and she basically realizes that what happened with Luna is going to happen again, and Will follows, and Jonas appears in Will's ear and tells him they're running out of time. He suggests that suicide is the only way to protect them, and I honestly thought Riley was going to kill herself. I honestly thought that was going to happen, and the way this was going, it just seemed like that's where they were going here, and Riley says that she was supposed to die at that spot, and I'm happy that she didn't do it. I'm happy that Will didn't go through with it, because he takes out his gun, he throws it away, and if they would have killed off Riley, I would have been really pissed, and here's why. The whole finale was built around her, and if you would have just killed her off, that would have, made me feel like this episode was pointless. That's what it would have made me feel like, and I'm happy that they didn't kill her off. I'm happy that she is still alive, and that's something I thought was great. That's something I love about the show in general, that they didn't really kill off anyone major, so that way these people are still alive, we can still see them next season, there's still things for them to do, which I thought was great, because I was really thinking they were going to kill off a Sense8, and they didn't. I'm happy they didn't. Because that's not really what the show is, and basically, he runs to the van, he knows he's not going to kill her, he's not going to do that, so he runs to the van, digs through the medicine supply, he injects himself, and then visits Riley to explain, and basically, this I thought was really interesting. We find out, basically, that him and Whispers are connected, Whispers is in his head, and that he'll soon be unconscious from the drugs. So Will tells Riley that their only chance is for Riley to take them away. The only way that they can do this is for Will to be unconscious. And Riley resists, hating the idea of leaving Luna behind again. And Will tells Riley that he loves her. And, that's the exact spot that Luna was at. And basically, it's a great scene. You see that she doesn't want to do this, but she knows she has to. They kiss, and it's this real satisfying scene. He passes out, and again, it really goes with the first scene, showing that Will do anything to protect someone, and he really did in that scene. And I thought that was awesome, the way they handled it here. I definitely really love that. So Will regains consciousness on a boat with Riley singing and Seven piloting. Riley reaches over, injects Will with another dose, and Will said, "You did it. You saved us." He passes out again. Obviously, she needs to keep injecting him so whispers won't come out, and all 8 Sensates appear to be riding the boat as it sails into the open ocean. Where they're going, we don't know. But that's how the finale ends, and we see all the 8 Sensates together, and I thought that was really satisfying, and I really loved that, I have to say. I thought that was fantastic. Now, yes, some people could say, oh, that's a great way to end it, we don't need any more episodes. But I say, you know what? They left it open in many... They did 2 things I really did like. They didn't give us a major cliffhanger, so the shows can't... And here, let me tell you why they didn't give us a major cliffhanger. Because Netflix doesn't really do that a lot, but the only show I've seen that actually gives us, like, major cliffhangers is Orange is the New Black in Season 1, and then Bloodline in Season 1. It really didn't seem like... Daredevil didn't give us really a huge cliffhanger. They gave us a good one, but not really a huge one. And Sense8 gave us a cliffhanger in the sense that there's still more room for story, and that's something I like. But what I like that the Wachowskis did with this is that they left it open, so if they do get canceled, then this was a good ending. Yeah, there is still some stuff that's open, like, is Kala gonna ask Rajan to marry her? Like, that's still something that's open. But what they also did that I like is there definitely is a lot more room for story. There's a lot more story to tell, and I'm definitely looking forward to that, I have to say. Please renew this show for a Season 2. Let me explain why I thought this finale was as good as it was, because this show, I've said before, this is not a show about these 8 people being connected and them rescuing each other. This is a show about the struggles in their lives, the daily struggles, the real problems that they go through. And yeah, the Sensei stuff is to the side, but what I like is that, yeah, it was very to the side. I feel like next season is definitely not going to be like that, and I'm fine with that, but definitely I like how this season was basically them all living normal lives and sort of how they deal with all this. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how next season deals with all that, because that definitely is going to be very interesting, I have to say. And all the characters just have really interesting arcs. So let's talk about Will. Obviously, there has to be a way to get Will out of this. There has to be a way to kill Whispers without killing Will, because obviously him and Whispers are connected right now, so if they just kill Whispers, is that going to help out Will? I'm not really sure. I feel like there's a lot more than that, because some people are like, oh, why couldn't they just killed off Whispers? I feel like there's a lot more to that we definitely aren't getting, and I feel like we're going to find out a lot more about Whispers next season. They already said next season is going to explain the origin and, like, what Whispers really wants to do, who he is, and that's something I'm definitely looking forward to, is finding out what's really going on with Whispers as a character. That's something I thought was definitely very good. So, Riley, I feel like, is definitely going to find out what's going to happen with that, and I definitely really enjoyed that whole storyline. Now, Wolfgang, as far as Wolfgang and Kala go, obviously Kala is now going to marry Rajan. She basically is going to. There is a part of me, though, that kind of feels like Kala liked the thrilling action vibe that Wolfgang gave her. I mean, and she enjoyed helping him out and things like that. So I kind of feel like Kala maybe is going to stay with him because she just loves him in general and doesn't really care if he kills people. I think she's actually might stay with him. There's a part of me that thinks that. And that's going to be very interesting to see what Kala actually does. If she listens to him and goes to Rajan and marries him, take the easy way out, or if she's going to stay with Wolfgang regardless of the fact that he is this killer and he does kill people and he's basically as violent as his father was. I don't agree with Wolfgang that he is as bad as his father, because he didn't boo anyone when they were singing. He wasn't just an asshole. Wolfgang's a nice guy, but he will kill people if he has to, and he's done some very bad things, and I think he knows that, and I think that definitely is very interesting. I really do love that, I have to say. The other storylines are pretty much out in the open. You know, Lito's storyline concluded with Danielle and Hernando. We'll have to see what happens with that next season. Capheus' storyline concluded. Nomi and Amanita, I think they're pretty much just going to be recovering from what happened next season. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how all that works out. The thing about this show, though, is that I'm not going to sugarcoat this, guys. I fucking love Sense8, okay? I'm pretty sure you guys can tell I love Sense8. It's a fantastic show. Every episode there was not one episode this season, even episode 3 that wasn't the best, I still would give a B. I wouldn't give the show less than a B. I really wouldn't. This is the best show all summer. I don't think there's a show that's going to come in competition with it. Possibly Hannibal. That's really it. honestly, I think this show was just perfect. I really do. I think this story, it was very different than what I thought it was going to be. It's much more of a character driven series. That's something I absolutely loved about this season. The emotional moments, I was teary eyed. I will admit, guys, I was teary eyed toward the scene with Will and Riley, and it's because of how great these characters are. They've built up their lives so well. And the thing with Riley is, a lot of people say, oh, she's very underdeveloped. I think they developed her perfectly in this finale. Like, this finale was basically her finale. It was Riley's story. The show wasn't Riley's story, but this finale, it was time to develop Riley's character more. It was time to see what was going on with Riley. How do we develop her character more? How do we connect with her more? And I think they showed that very well in this finale, and that's something I definitely really enjoyed, is how they got us to connect with Riley more. I thought that was very well done. I definitely really enjoyed that. As, you know, Will, Nomi, Capheus, Leto, Kala, we know all about their stories already. We and Wolfgang, we know their stories already. We know their backstories. The only one we really don't know much of is Riley. And maybe Sun. Sun, we're still kind of, we don't know too much about her, but she's definitely going to find a way to break out of prison next season. That's definitely going to happen. I'm sure that's in the back of her mind. I definitely feel like we're going to get a lot more visits next season between characters, of them interacting with each other, and that's something I think is great. I know a lot of people thought that the action stuff was stupid, but I really love the action because of how well done it was. I mean, they didn't do it in this way where it's like, look at me, I'm mindless action, and I'm going to have all this mindless action because we're the Wachowskis and we're cool like that. No, this was realistic action that had consequences and things that could, really damage these people. And I thought it was very well done in that sense. That's something I definitely really did enjoy. I do feel like next season they are going to kill off a Sense8. I definitely feel that's going to happen. Some people have said they might want to bring in more. Please don't do that. Don't bring in any more Sense8s, okay? Keep the show Sense8. Don't make it Sense16. That'd be really dumb if they did that. I really hope they just keep it as these 8 characters, because that's why I love the show. Is because these 8 characters' lives, what goes on in their life, and I really do love that. And also, the writing for the show, I think, just got better and better as it went on. I mean, it just became more and more interesting. I became more and more sucked into the daily lives of the characters. There were times where I would just sit and, like, think about their lives. I'm not kidding. Like, I would just sit in my room and think, I wonder what's gonna happen in Will's storyline. I wonder what's gonna happen in Nomi's storyline. I wonder what's gonna happen in Leto's storyline. I did that so much, and I don't know why. It was just because I was so connected to these characters in a way that I don't think any other show has done. It does it, and the thing I love about the show is that there are so many things the show does that I don't think any other show could do. What show can do a scene where they all just start bursting out singing what's going on? There's no show that can do that. What show can have an orgy scene where everyone starts to experience, sex at the same time, and basically starts just randomly visiting in a hot tub, and show, like, how sex and exercise are, like, the same kind of thing? No other show can do that. What show can show every single birth of the characters and do it in a way that's not gross and disgusting, and do it in a way that's very subtle and actually kind of emotional and really heartwarming? I mean, this is the only show that can do things like that, and that's something I love about this show. Yes, the show has awesome action. Yes, the show has amazing dialogue. Yes, it has amazing acting. But the thing I really love about the show is how different it is from any other TV show. That's the thing, guys. This show is completely very overlooked. I mean, this is a show that so many more people should be watching. I look at my views on my videos and I'm like, wow, a lot of people don't watch this show. And it really sickens me when people don't watch a show that I absolutely love. I mean, I can give you 4 shows that are on TV this summer that nobody's watching. Sense8, Unreal, Mr. Robot, Humans. Nobody are watching these shows, but they're all great, and Sense8 is by far the best of those 4, definitely. I think Sense8 is the best show of the summer. It's one of the best shows of the year. It's the best new show of 2015 by far. I don't care. I think this is better than Daredevil. Okay, shoot me. I think it's better than Daredevil. I personally do, and that's because of the fact that these characters were just so interesting, and the storylines got more and more better, and the way they, the things they did with the show, I think they went to some really ballsy directions at times that a lot of shows are very afraid to go in, but this show is never afraid to do that. This show is never afraid to go in some really dark directions, some really on the edge of your seat moments, and That's something I absolutely love about the show. I also love how realistic the show was. I never found the dialogue cheesy. A lot of people do, but I never found a single bit of dialogue cheesy. I really didn't. I found it realistic. I found it heartwarming. I found it a good story, and it fit well for the characters. I mean, yeah, the tones were different for each of the characters. Like, for example, you'd go to Leto, and it'd be really fun, and then you go to, you go to, like, Catheus, and it'd be, like, the darkest thing ever. But that's just because of the characters are, and that's something else I love, is how different all the characters were in this season. They don't all have the same personalities at all, and that's evidenced definitely by Wolfgang. I mean, Wolfgang is very quickly becoming one of my favorites of the 8 by far. What we saw with him in this episode is truly incredible. I can't wait to see where they go with him next season. That's going to be incredible. Please give this show a season 2. I swear to God, they better give it a season 2. If we don't get a season 2, I am going to be very, very pissed off that we don't get a season 2. And by the way, guys, you know how I just reviewed the show and I feel like it? I'm going to do that from now on with Netflix shows because I really don't want to do once a week anymore. I'm tired of it. I experimented to see if it worked, to just see, okay, let's stop doing the once a week thing, and I think it worked really well. I mean, it made me love the show even more, honestly. I feel like with Daredevil, I should have just done that so I could have gone to Sense8 earlier. Really, I could have. If I wouldn't have spent so much time on, Daredevil and done it once a week, then I could have, gotten to Sense8 quicker, and I'm sorry there weren't any classic movie reviews this week. That's because of me reviewing Sense8 and how much I love it and how much I thought about it. Sense8's one of those shows where you watch it, you don't want to watch anything else. The only thing I watched this week was, like, Sense8, stuff on TV, and BoJack Horseman, and Orange is the New Black. That's really it. I've watched nothing but Netflix all week. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But that's how into the show I've been. I personally think this is the best show Netflix has ever done. I really do. It's a very ballsy show. I think it was also a very risky show because you didn't know if it was going to work. I remember I really didn't think the show was going to work at all. I saw these really bad reviews. I'm like, there's no way I'm watching this. But I figured I would give it a chance, and I never thought that I'd love it as much as I did, and that's why I love Sense8 as much as I do. I think it's just this fantastic show. And again, even episodes like episode 3, my only complaint was that they didn't develop Sun's character enough in episode 3, but then they developed her perfectly in episode 4, and ever since then, I fucking love this show. Seriously, every episode has been fantastic. Every episode just made us care about the characters more, made us deep in the story more, and made us more invested in the show altogether. But that's basically my review of the season finale of Sense8. Let me know what you guys thought of this finale. I can't talk. I could talk for an hour about the show. I really could. I want to do a live stream about Sense8. I really do. I don't know who to invite, but I really want to, like, talk about it with someone. I mean, there isn't really anyone to talk about it with, and it kind of sucks. I definitely want to watch that, live stream that they did yesterday. They did this live stream with the Sense8 cast, and it was all of the all 8 of the actors talking about the show. I definitely want to check that out. I really want to talk about Sense8 with someone. It's a fantastic show, and I really feel a lot more people should watch it, and I can't wait for season 2. Please, God, give me a season 2. I swear to God, give me a season 2. If you can give Marco Polo a season 2, you can give this a season 2. If you can give something like Between a season 2, I'm pretty sure Between's gonna get a season 2. You can give this a season 2. I've heard reports that there are a season 2, but there's no official confirmation yet. So until there is, I'm gonna say please just give this show a season 2. I swear to God, I need to see more of this show. I really do. I'm probably gonna rewatch Sense8 more. I'm probably gonna rewatch it, I'm gonna be honest. But that's basically this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of this season overall. What do you think of the show? What do you think of the finale? What do you think of just anything in the show? What do you think about it? I really want to talk about it with you guys. I'd love to talk about the show. Favorite character, favorite storyline, favorite episode, things like that. I'd love to know this stuff. What do you think is going to happen next season? I just love to know your thoughts on this show, really. It's a show that I think a lot of people, I think it's a show that I really do want to talk very much about, and I'm very invested in. I'd love to talk more about it. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoy it. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for my review of tonight's episode of Big Brother 17, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.